My parents called and said they could not make it to my daughter's birthday party, and I told her they were sorry and watched her blow out those candles alone until that night when I found out exactly where they actually were and why they lied. My daughter blew out her candles alone. Not alone in the absolute sense. I was there. Her father Marcus was there. Her two friends from kindergarten were there with their mothers, women I liked but had known for less than a year, still in the early acquaintance stage of a friendship that had not yet become the kind where you could fall apart in front of them without apology. 6 people in my kitchen on a Saturday afternoon in October with streamers and the specific smell of sugar in the cake I had made myself because Lily had asked for the purple butterfly one and the bakeries near us charged more than I wanted to spend for a party that had already cost more than I planned. It was a good party. That is the thing I want to say first because it matters. We had made it good. Marcus had blown up 41 balloons the night before while I frosted the cake, both of us in the kitchen at 11 p.m. with our daughter asleep upstairs, and we had made something that a 6-year-old would recognize as a real birthday, a seen and celebrated birthday, a birthday that said you matter and we prepared for you and the day is yours. The absence of my parents was the thing Lily felt but did not have language for yet. She had asked 3 times in the 2 hours before the party started. Each time her face carrying the particular hope of a child who already suspects the answer but keeps asking because the asking keeps the door open. Is Grandma coming? Is Grandpa coming? Did they call yet? My parents, Warren and Diane Ashworth, had called at 9:40 that morning. 2 hours before the party. Not the night before with enough time to prepare, not a week before when it might have been a logistics problem rather than a choice. 2 hours before, while I was putting streamers on the stair rail and Marcus was inflating the remaining balloons and Lily was upstairs putting on the dress she had chosen specifically because it was the same purple as the butterflies on the cake. My mother's voice on the phone had the specific quality of a voice that has rehearsed a short message and is delivering it with practiced brevity. We're so sorry, sweetheart. Your father isn't feeling well. We're not going to make it today. Give Lily our love and tell her we'll make it up to her. The phone call lasted 47 seconds. I stood at the bottom of my stair rail with a streamer in my hand and the specific weight of needing to walk upstairs in 15 minutes and tell my 6-year-old daughter that the grandparents she had been asking about for 3 days were not coming. Lily blew out her candles without them. She made a wish with her eyes scrunched shut and her small hands gripping the table edge, and I watched her face and I thought about what she might be wishing for, and I did not let myself finish the thought. Let me tell you about my parents and what they were to Lily before they became what they became to her that Saturday. Warren and Diane Ashworth had been, for the first 4 years of Lily's life, the kind of grandparents that children's books are written about. Present. Enthusiastic. The specific grandparent warmth that grandchildren receive when the grandparents have arrived at a stage of life where the urgency is gone and what remains is the ability to be fully present without the performance pressure of active parenting. My father built things with Lily. Small wooden projects, birdhouses and painted boxes, the Saturday morning activities of a retired man who had found in his granddaughter someone who was genuinely interested in how things were made. My mother baked with her. The specific flour-dusted afternoons of a grandmother who had passed the skill deliberately, who had pulled a step stool to the counter and let a 3-year-old help with real dough rather than play dough. Lily loved them in the complete way of a child who has received something consistent and has learned to expect its continuation. That was before my brother came home. My brother Colton Ashworth returned from 4 years abroad 8 months before Lily's 6th birthday. He came back with a woman named Bex who was warm and interesting and who I liked immediately, and he came back with the specific energy of a person who had been away long enough to be received as both familiar and new, the returned child carrying the excitement of the traveler and the comfort of the known. My parents received him the way parents receive a child who has been absent and is now present, with a fullness of delayed attention, with the making up for that is inevitable when a child reappears after years of distance. I understood this. I want to be clear that I understood the logic of it before I tell you what the logic cost. What it cost was the recalibration of everything my parents had been distributing in Colton's absence. The Saturday mornings with Lily became Saturdays helping Colton and Bex settle in. The weekly dinners became dinners that included Colton and Bex and were organized around their schedules rather than built around the rhythms they had established with Lily. The calls that used to come on Tuesday evenings to talk to Lily before bedtime came less frequently and then sporadically and then not at all without me noticing exactly when the last one had been because the reduction had been gradual enough to accommodate without alarm. I raised it with my mother once. 3 months before Lily's birthday, at a dinner that had been rescheduled twice, Lily asleep in the car on the drive home, Marcus driving while I sat in the passenger seat and held the specific thought I had been holding all evening. A week later I called my mother and told her that Lily had started asking why they did not come on Saturdays anymore. My mother's voice had the careful warmth of a woman managing a concern she had already decided the outcome of. We've just been so busy with Colton settling in. Her voice. It's a transition period. Things will even out. I told her Lily's birthday was in 6 weeks and that it would mean a lot for them to be there. Of course. My mother's voice. Warm. Certain. We wouldn't miss it. The party was at 2. At 4:15, after the friends had gone home and Lily was in the living room with her new toys and Marcus was cleaning up the kitchen, I stepped outside to the back porch with my phone. I called my friend Petra, who had not been able to come to the party but had sent a gift with a card that contained Lily's name written 4 times in the specific way of a person who understands that a child needs to see their name. Petra picked up on the second ring. How was it? Her voice. Good. My voice. We made it good. Your parents. Called at 9:40. My dad wasn't feeling well. They didn't come. A silence on Petra's end. The specific silence of a woman who had heard the Ashworth family accounting across 7 years of friendship, and was calibrating her response. Lily? She asked 3 times before the party. My voice. She blew out her candles without them. I'm sorry. Her voice. The genuine weight of it. I told her they were sorry. My voice. I told her Grandpa wasn't feeling well and they would make it up to her. The back porch. The October afternoon. The sound of Lily's voice from inside the house, narrating something to herself the way she did when she was deep in play. Are you okay? Petra's voice. My hands around my phone. The yard behind the house, the one Lily played in on good weather weekends, the one my father had come to twice in the 8 months since Colton came home. I don't know yet. My voice. Honest. I will be. I just need tonight to not perform okay to everyone. You don't have to perform anything for me. Her voice. Call me later if you need to. I went back inside. Marcus found out at 8:17. Lily was in bed. I was at the kitchen table with the remains of my own birthday party energy, the specific exhaustion of a person who has performed full celebration mode for 6 hours and is now in the aftermath of it. Marcus came in from the living room where he had been on his phone with his expression altered in the specific way that expressions alter when a person has learned something they're trying to decide how to deliver. He put his phone on the table in front of me. His sister Diane, no relation to my mother, was in the same social circle as Bex, my brother's girlfriend. Diane had sent Marcus a photo from her own phone. A photo posted publicly on Bex's account earlier that afternoon. The photo was of a restaurant table. A celebratory table, a birthday party configuration, balloons and a centerpiece, and the specific staging of a meal that has been prepared for. My parents were at that table. My father on the left, my mother on the right, Colton beside her, Bex across from him, 3 other people I recognized as Bex's family who I had met once at a gathering. The timestamp on the post was 2:34 p.m. Lily had blown out her candles at 2:27. My parents had not been at a house with a sick father. They had been at a restaurant 40 minutes from my house, at what appeared to be a birthday lunch for Bex, while my daughter held the table edge and scrunched her eyes shut and made a wish at a party they had promised to attend. I looked at the photo for a long time. Marcus sat down across from me. The kitchen. The remains of the butterfly cake under its dome on the counter. The streamers still on the stair rail because I had not taken them down yet. She posted it publicly. My voice. Flat. Even. The voice of a person receiving information and not performing the response to it yet. She didn't know. Marcus's voice. She doesn't know what your parents told you. She just posted from a birthday lunch. My hands flat on the table. The phone between us. My father isn't feeling well. At 2:34 p.m., 40 minutes away, my father was at a restaurant table with balloons. He wasn't sick. My voice. No. Marcus's voice. They chose. My voice. They chose Bex's birthday lunch over Lily's birthday party and they lied about why. The kitchen. The butterfly cake. The wish my daughter had made at 2:27 with her eyes scrunched shut. I thought about what she had been wishing for. I let myself finish the thought this time. I did not call that night. Marcus watched me from across the kitchen table and I could see him reading my face, the specific attentiveness of a man who knew me well enough to understand that the stillness I was sitting in was not calm and was not readiness and was not any of the things that might produce a phone call in the next 10 minutes that I would regret. Not tonight. My voice. Quiet. Addressed to both of us. He nodded. I went upstairs. I stood in the doorway of Lily's room and watched her sleeping with the specific completeness of a 6-year-old who has had a full day. The purple dress on the floor where she had stepped out of it. The new toys arranged on her nightstand in the order she had assigned them before bed, the specific organizational logic of a child who needed things in their right places. She had fallen asleep within 4 minutes of me turning off the light. Children who have been loved through their birthday parties sleep cleanly. I stood in the doorway for a long time. Then I went to bed and I lay in the dark and I let myself feel the full weight of the photo on Marcus's phone, the 2:34 timestamp, the balloons at a restaurant table 40 minutes away, my father healthy and present and attending a birthday that was not his granddaughter's. I called my mother Sunday morning. Not from anger, though anger was present. Not from the need to deliver a verdict, though clarity had arrived in the night with the specific completeness of something that had been approaching for 8 months and had now fully landed. I called because Lily was going to ask about them again. She would ask this week and the week after, and I was going to have to say something, and what I said to my 6-year-old daughter about why her grandparents had not come to her birthday was going to be shaped by what happened in this conversation. My mother picked up with the warmth she deployed automatically, the greeting of a woman who had not yet received the information that I had received. "Good morning, sweetheart." My kitchen. Marcus at the counter with coffee, turned slightly away to give me the room but present. The butterfly cake still under its dome. "I need to ask you something directly." My voice. "Even. And I need you to answer directly." A pause. The recalibration on her end, the warmth adjusting to the register of my voice. "Of course." Her voice. "Careful now. Where were you yesterday afternoon?" A silence. "I told you, your father." "Mom." My voice. Patient. Precise. "I have a photo. Timestamp 2:34. You and Dad and Colton and Bex and her family at a restaurant. At 2:34 yesterday afternoon." The silence on her end was 6 seconds. 6 seconds is a very long time. "That was." Her voice. Lower. The performance of warmth gone entirely. "It was a quick thing. Bex's birthday was this week and her family was in town and it was already planned before we knew. Before you knew Lily's party was the same day." My voice. Another silence. "We should have handled it better." Her voice. The adjacent to apology language of a woman who understood she had been caught and was managing the catching. "We should have been honest about the conflict instead of." "You told me Dad was sick." My voice. Still even? Still patient? Still the voice of a person delivering information rather than performing emotion. "I told my daughter that her grandfather was sick. She blew out her birthday candles at 2:27. At 2:34 you were at a restaurant with balloons." The silence this time had a different quality. The quality of a woman sitting inside something she could not reframe. "We made the wrong choice." Her voice. Low. The stripped-down version, the one without management. "Yes." My voice. "You did. We should have told you there was a conflict dash." "You should have." My voice. "But you didn't. You told me he was sick. You chose a lie that would be clean and quick and would not require you to say out loud that you were choosing Bex's birthday lunch over Lily's birthday party." A sound on her end that was not words. "I'm not calling to argue." My voice. "I'm calling because Lily is going to ask about you this week and I need to know what is true before I decide what to tell her." "What does that mean?" Her voice. Cautious. "It means I'm not going to lie to my daughter again on your behalf." My voice. "I did that yesterday. I told her you were sorry and Grandpa was sick and you would make it up to her. I told her that while you were at a restaurant." A pause. "I'm not doing that again." A long silence. "Nora." Her voice. The voice that had managed me since I was a child, the register that said I was making something harder than it needed to be. "We love Lily. This was a mistake in judgment, not a statement about." "It is a statement." My voice. Quiet. The quietest it had been in the whole call, which made it the most significant. Every choice is a statement. You chose to attend a birthday lunch for Bex instead of Lily's party. You chose to lie about why. Those choices say something, and I am not going to protect Lily from what they say by lying to her about what happened. The kitchen. The butterfly cake. Lily's voice starting upstairs, the sounds of a child waking up on the morning after her birthday. "I have to go." My voice. "Lily's up. I need you to understand that what happens next depends on what you do with this conversation." I ended the call. Colton called that afternoon. I had not expected this. Colton had maintained his specific approach to family disagreements his entire life, which was the approach of a person who understood that staying out of difficult rooms was the most comfortable available position. His voice when I picked up had the quality of a man who had been told something and was deciding how to handle the telling. "Bex showed me what she posted." His voice. "She feels terrible. She had no idea what Mom and Dad told you." My living room. Lily in the backyard with Marcus, their voices coming through the glass, Her laugh, the specific Saturday afternoon laugh of a child in the unreserved middle of something. I know she didn't know. My voice. This is not about Bex. I know. His voice. A pause. The pause of a man who had something to say and was locating it. They told me there was a conflict and they were going to sort it out. I didn't know they told you Dad was sick. I didn't know that's what they said. Would it have changed anything? My voice. Not harsh. Genuine. A longer pause. I don't know. His voice. The honesty of a man choosing not to be comfortable. Maybe not. Maybe I would have let them handle it because I didn't want to make Bex's lunch complicated. A breath. That's not a good answer, but it's the true one. I appreciate the true one. My voice. Lily. His voice. The name carrying something. Is she okay? My hand on the glass, Lily visible in the backyard, her purple dress replaced by jeans and a sweater, her whole body in the running she was doing around Marcus, who was pretending to chase her with the specific enthusiasm of a father who understood that being caught was the point. She had a good birthday. My voice. We made sure of that. Good. His voice. Quiet. That's good. We talked for a few more minutes. Not resolution, not the reconfiguration of anything, but the specific honest conversation of two siblings who had grown up in the same family and had arrived at different distances from it and were acknowledging the difference rather than performing its absence. My parents came to the house the following Saturday. Not invited. They appeared at 11 in the morning, my father carrying a gift bag and my mother with the expression of a woman who had decided that showing up was the correct move and was here to enact it. I let them in. Lily was at the kitchen table with her Saturday drawing project, the weekly practice she had developed of drawing whatever she was currently thinking about, and she looked up when my parents came through and her face did the thing it did when she received something she had been wanting but had stopped expecting. She got down from her chair. She walked to my mother. My mother crouched down and put her arms around Lily, and I watched my daughter accept the embrace with a full-body trust of a 6-year-old who loved her grandmother and had been loved back sufficiently to not yet understand the full accounting of the previous Saturday. My father crouched beside them. His hand on Lily's back. I stood at the kitchen counter and I watched my parents hold my daughter, and I felt the complicated thing that does not have a clean name, the thing that was the genuine love they had for her, and the 234 timestamp, and the lie about the sickness, and the wish she had made with her eyes scrunched shut, all present simultaneously. The gift bag had a purple butterfly on it. I noted this and said nothing. I spoke to my mother alone in the kitchen while my father sat at the table with Lily and her drawings, the two of them in the specific absorbed collaboration of a grandfather and a granddaughter finding each other again. My mother's hands around a coffee cup I had given her. Her eyes on the table surfaced before they came up to mine. I need you to understand something. Her voice. The stripped-down version she had been using more in the last week than in the previous year. About why we made the choice we made. My coffee. My kitchen. Colton had been gone for 4 years. Her voice. Bex's family flew in. It felt like something we could not reschedule. A pause. And we told ourselves that Lily wouldn't remember. That 6 is young and she wouldn't carry it. My hands around my cup. She made a wish. My voice. Quiet. At 2:27. With her eyes scrunched shut. And I watched her face when she opened them and looked at the empty chairs where you were supposed to be. My mother's face. She will not remember the details of that Saturday in 20 years. My voice. But she is building something right now. 6-year-olds are building the internal structure that tells them whether the people who love them show up. Every birthday is a brick in that structure. My mother looked at her coffee. We pulled a brick out. Her voice. Low. Yes. My voice. You did. We can't put it back. Her voice. No. My voice. You can't put it back. You can add other bricks. That's different. She looked at me with the direct look, the one she did not always use. Will you let us? Her voice. I looked at the table where my father and my daughter were bent over a drawing together, his large hand in her small one, the patient transmission of attention that had been the thing Lily loved most about him before it had been redirected. That depends on you. My voice. Not on me. It depends on what you do when the next conflict comes, and whether you choose the lie or the truth, and whether you choose the easy thing or the thing that keeps that structure solid for her. She absorbed this. And the lying. My voice. That is the part I cannot explain away. A conflict I could have worked with. The lie is the part that required me to look my daughter in the face and repeat it to her. A pause. Do not put me in that position again. My mother's hands on the coffee cup tightened and then released. I won't. Her voice. The weight of a commitment being made with full awareness of its cost. I picked up my coffee. What followed was not a clean reorganization. My parents came to 3 consecutive family dinners in the following 2 months without cancellation. My father resumed the Saturday morning woodworking with Lily, not every week but enough that Lily stopped asking whether he was coming and started announcing it to Marcus on Friday evenings. Colton and Bex came to Lily's make-up birthday lunch, a low-key Sunday meal that Bex had suggested and organized and which Lily received with the pure pleasure of a child who understands that a second celebration is simply more celebration without any awareness of the accounting that had produced it. Bex brought Lily a purple butterfly notebook. I noted this too. What I carry from that Saturday is not the photo. The photo is documentation. It is the concrete evidence of a choice and its timestamp and its balloons, and I have looked at it enough times to understand exactly what it contains, and I do not need to look at it again. What I carry is the 227. The moment before the 234. The moment when my daughter stood at her own birthday table and scrunched her eyes shut and made a wish, and I watched her face and I thought about what she was wishing for, and I did not let myself finish the thought. I finish it now. She was wishing for them. 6 years old, surrounded by everything we had built for her, the purple butterflies and the streamers and the balloons and the friends and the father who loved her completely and the mother who had made the cake herself, and in the middle of all of it she was wishing for the 2 people whose chairs were empty. Children who are loved build a map of who loves them. Every appearance is a landmark. Every absence is a blank space on the map. And the blank spaces do not stay blank, they get filled in with whatever explanation the child has available, and the explanations that 6-year-olds have available are always some version of the same one. I was not worth coming to. I have spent the months since that Saturday making sure that blank space gets filled with something different. Not by explaining the accounting to Lily, not by telling a 6-year-old the story of a 234 timestamp, but by watching every appearance my parents make and ensuring they understand that each one is a landmark, and that the blank space from October exists, and cannot be removed, and can only be built around. And if you have ever stood in front of a birthday cake with empty chairs at the table and told yourself that the person who did not come still loves you in their way, understand this: love in someone's way is only worth the name if their way includes showing up for the moments that cannot be rescheduled, and a birthday only happens once a year, and a 6-year-old only builds her map once, and the people who chose a restaurant at 2:34 while she scrunched her eyes shut at 2:27 will spend the rest of their lives trying to fill a blank space they created in 47 seconds on a phone call and could have prevented with the truth. The candles burn for exactly as long as it takes to make a wish. After that, the wax is spent and the moment is gone, and what remains is only what you built before you let them go out.